हाँ जी, तो सबको जैसे कि बजटरी कंट्रोल बहुत ज़्यादा टफ चैप्टर लगता है एंड एवरीवन सेज मैम दिस चैप्टर हैज़ so much of theory and how to retain this. Also, since November 22 attempt, we have been seeing that budgetary control carries a lot of weightage in exams. So today, yes, today we'll be covering budgetary control chapter in depth, or we'll revise it quickly. So first we'll see the overview. The overview is given as follows. The budgetary control, there are two control schemes, that is the feedback control and the feed forward control. So you might be aware, one is the feedback and one is the feed forward. So the name itself suggests one is the back one and one is the forward one. So what about the feedback? As the name suggests, afterwards, that is the feedback comes after. And what does the forward suggest? That is one step ahead, that is proactive. So this is reactive, that is after action reaction comes, but this one is proactive. So now feedback, feed forward covered. These are the complete overview of the chapter, like these topics will be covered in this chapter. So we'll see this in depth. Budgetary control. What is budgetary control? See, it is a systematic control of an organization's operations through establishment of standards and targets. See, the keyword you got here itself. The keyword is standards and targets. What we do in budgetary control, we set the standards and targets. In standard costing also, you might have studied that there is standard rates, there is standard hours. So there is a standard set, standards and targets. Regarding what? The income and expenses, that is the revenue and expenses. Now once the budgets are set, that is once the standards and the targets are set, now what is the next step? We have to continuously monitor it. How you can monitor it? By comparing the actual performance with the standard targets. So the actual performance and the standard targets will be compared, right? So budgetary control definition, very easy, self-understanding. Budgetary control is a systematic control. Why it is a control? Because we keep a check. We keep a check on what? On the organization's operations. How we keep a check? By setting standards and targets. Regarding what? The standards are related to the income and expenses, and we do continuous monitoring. Now the next topic is prerequisites of effective budgetary control. Prerequisites of effective budgetary control, that is, to have an effective budgetary control, what is required? First understand the meaning of the question. The question is to have effective budgetary control, what is required, right? Very easy question. So see, these points are required. A serious attitude to the system. Now these points are self-explanatory, but still you have to mug up these points. You have to learn these points as it is. So we will use again what we will use, as we always use in audit also, memory tricks, right? So a serious attitude. From attitude you can remember A, clear demarcation, that is C, clear demarcation. Reasonable budget targets, that is R. Data collection analysis, that is data related to data, D. So A, C, R, D. A, serious attitude is required. C, clear demarcation is there. R, reasonable budget targets. The target should be reasonable. It should not be like 1000 pens to be manufactured by one person in 10 minutes. That is beyond reasonable. So you have to keep reasonable budget targets. Then there is established data. Related to data, there should be collection. First you have to collect the data, then analyze the data, and then reporting techniques. Now the next is reports aimed at individual managers. So the keywords initials you will take I for individual managers. How should the reports be? Not general reports, but the reports should be aimed at individual managers. Now fairly shorter reporting periods, that is typically a month, not 1 year reports, but shorter reporting periods, that is shorter reporting periods. Now timely variance reports, that is T. T stands for timely variance reports. Then there is action being taken to get operations. A stands for action, that is action being taken to get operations back under control. So there is actions being taken, or you can remember it using B, that is actions being taken, because from A we have learnt attitude. Now from B there will be action being taken. So you can remember this with a simple memory trick, that is Christ tab. So from C it will be clear demarcation, from R it will be reasonable budget targets, from I there will be reports aimed at individual managers, from S there will be shorter reporting periods, and from T there will be timely variance reports. Now again from T we can keep one more point, that is techniques 1. From A there will be action being taken or serious attitude, from B there will be action being taken. Right, so this was done. Once more if you want to revise, from C clear demarcation, from R reasonable budget targets, I individual reports aimed to individual managers, from T techniques, from S shorter reporting periods, again from T there is timely variance reports, from A there is serious attitude, and from B there is action being taken. Now what was the question also you have to keep in mind, prerequisites of effective budgetary control, that is how we can achieve effective budgetary control. So we have to follow these points, then only we can achieve effective budgetary control. Now if we come to the next topic, it is feedback and feed forward control, the same thing which we studied above. See here the control schemes, there are two types of control schemes, feed forward and feedback. So here it is given in detail. Feedback control, feedback as the name suggests is a reaction. Earlier also I told you it is a reaction after action has taken place, that is feedback. The name itself suggests, see, I will come back to you. What this means, I'll come back to you later on. So this is later on, the action has taken place first, now later on the reaction will take place. So first the action will be taken, there has to be any error, then we can correct this. So this is a corrective action, not a preventive action. So you understand the meaning of prevention and correction. So feedback is the correction, because already the action has taken, the error has occurred, now we have to correct it. But the feed forward is proactive approach, that is action has not been taken, but first only we are preventing the errors. So in feedback, if it identifies an error that has already taken place by comparing the actual historical results with budget results, therefore it is a detective tool, that is we detect the errors. We detect the errors. Okay, so now see, the process flow chart is also given. What is this? This is flow chart for, this is a flow chart for the feedback control. Okay, so first what will happen, first the actual performance will happen, like we set the standard of 10 hours but the actual performance was 12 hours. So this is the actual performance, we'll measure the actual performance, then we'll compare it with the standards, like the actual performance was 12 hours, so we measured, it was 12 hours. Now the comparison of actual against standards, what was the standards, 10 hours, so we compared and we found that 2 hours extra has been taken. So we identify the deviations. What is the deviations? The difference, the gap between the standard and the actual, that is 2 hours. Now what we'll do, we'll analyze why this 2 hours extra was took. So analysis of cause of deviations. Now we'll take the corrective actions, that we have to correct it, and from the next time 10 hours will only be taken. Then we have to implement the corrections so that we can achieve the desired performance, that is 10 hours itself and not 12 hours. Now the control reports are also given. See, how should the feedback management control report be? Why is the name here as feedback management control report? Because now which control we were studying? We were studying feedback control. This is feedback control, therefore the report of feedback control is known as feedback management control report. See, what are the requirements? The report should disclose both accomplishments and responsibilities. What it should disclose? Both accomplishments and responsibilities. Now reports should be extracted promptly. So the next point is report should be extracted promptly. Then the next point is it should disclose trends and relationship. It should disclose the trends and relationships, that is relationships and trends, R and T. Okay, so the next is should disclose variations from standards, and the next point is should be in standardized format. The format should be standardized. So there are 5 points. Now if we recall again, see what are we are talking about? Report. So you can easily remember it. From R you can remember responsibility, That is the first point, accomplishment and responsibility. From E you can remember extracted promptly, that is EP, extracted, E extracted, and P promptly. Yeah, so you can remember from E and P extracted promptly. Now from O you can remember, try to remember format. I know format stands from F, but still you can try to remember from O format. From R and T again we saw here trends and relationships. So what is the memory trick also you don't need to learn, the question is itself the memory trick, that is report. So now once more we'll revise this. Yeah, so this is feedback management control report. From R there is relationships, responsibilities and accomplishments. Now from E and P there is extracted promptly. From O format, and from R and T trends and relationships. Now if we see the next topic, there is feed forward control. So till here we studied feedback control. Now we'll come to the next type of control, that is feed forward control. So see, in feed forward control what we do, we may be able to measure the amount of error before it has actually taken place. That is, in feedback what we were doing, first the action took place, then the error was identified, but here before the action takes place, error will be identified. So everything is happening before action, and there it was happening after action. Okay, so now you can see these points also. How can we implement the feed forward control? Indicator, that is I, contingency plans, that is C, trend analysis, that is T, then adaptive mechanisms is A, congruent system design is D, policy directives is P. So this way you can try to remember. Yeah, so we need to implement the feed forward control. Indicator, how should the indicator be? Both leading and early warning. Then there should be some contingency plans. Then we also have to analyze the trend analysis. Then adaptive mechanisms are to be taken. Congruent system design will also be developed, and then follow the policy directives. Then what are the guidelines? So this question is important. Guidelines to be followed before implementation of feed forward control. So now feed forward control we have to implement. So before implementing that, what are the guidelines? So the implementation of feed forward control, thorough planning and analysis is required. So here planning is required, discrimination must be applied. See, only the keywords you have to remember. Then it should be kept dynamic. Then the model of control system should already be developed, because we are implementing something. So before implementing planning, you will easily remember, before implementing anything you need to plan, you need to differentiate or discriminate. It should be dynamic, and model should be developed. Before developing a model, how can we implement something new? Then data, 2 points on data. See, data on input variables must be regularly collected and assessed. So you can remember this as one point only, that is data on input variables must be regularly collected and assessed. Now feed forward control requires action. So this you can easily remember now. Planning, discrimination, dynamic, model should be developed, data must be regularly collected and assessed, and requires action. What was this? This was implementation of feed forward control. Now this also has some limitations, that is, if we try to implement the feed forward control, there will obviously be some limitations. That is, it is an evaluation process, and see, feed forward is before action is taken. That is, we relate to some estimates. So what are estimates based on? Estimates are based on future events, which are definitely future events are going to be uncertain. So estimates of uncertain future, that is the limitation. Now study of future is not well developed. That is again a point related to uncertainty. So the next topic is behavioral aspects of budgetary control. See, in behavioral aspects we can see that there is chances of budget slack. So this is a concept which you need to know, that is budget slack. So what is budget slack? That suppose you can manufacture 10 pens, assume, in 1 hour, but the managers are tend to tend to incorporate budget slack, that is they will keep the budget of 1 hour for 5 pence. So this is very very low from the target, so there is a budgetary slack which is not good for the organization. So now there will be effect of budgetary difficulty on performance. So what will be the effect? Budgets have no motivational effect unless they are accepted by managers. So see, the managers are there. If they only don't accept the budgets, then who will motivate? So there will not be any motivational effect. So what is the keyword? No motivational effect. Now up to the point where the budget is no longer accepted. See, if the manager is ready to accept 1 hour 10 pence and not ready to accept 11 pence in 1 hour, he's like, no, I can't produce 11 pence in 1 hour, so no more the budget will be acceptable. So the more the demanding, like in 1 hour if you keep 9 pence, and in 1 hour if you keep 10 pence, and 11 is not allowed, it's not acceptable. So the 1 hour 10 pence, that is more demanding from 9 pence, so this will be better results will be achieved. Yeah, so there is better performance, that is better results will be achieved. So now this was the example. Now we'll see the next point. The next point is demanding budgets are seen as more relevant than less difficult targets, but negative attitudes are result if they are too difficult. Like if we right now also I told you the 11 pence in 1 hour was not acceptable, so this is too difficult. So if the budget is set too difficult, then there are chances that negative attitude will come. The workers will think, no, we can't work only like this. So too difficult target should not be set. Now if we come to the next topic, the next topic is participation in budget setting process. So what is the participation in budget setting process? There are two types of budget approach. See, here also it is given. There are two main approaches to budgeting. Now what are the two approaches? One is the top down and another is the bottom up. See, so top down, by the name only you can see that the budgetary approach of the top down budget is that they will just communicate it, like there will be a hierarchy. The senior management will corporate the plan, that is will set the budget, then it will allocate it to the departmental managers, and then it will be allocated to the budget holding staff. That is, they don't ask from the workers, they don't ask from the lower levels, they just directly set the budget on their own and impose it on the to the lower level. So it is also known as the impose style approach. So what is the meaning of imposing something? Like we impose our decisions on others. So that is what it is, top down budget or the impose style approach. Now what is the benefits of top down approach? Obviously if something is to be communicated directly, like without discussions, they just communicate something from top level to lower level, then it will not take time, so it will be produced quickly. So this is the only benefit, that is it will be produced quickly and time saving will be there. Now it will, see, right now also I told time saving, so it is less management time, involves less management time. Now what is the second type? That is second type of approach to budgeting, that is participative approach or bottom up approach. So by the name only you can see that bottom up approach, that is going from lower level to the top level. That is the lower workers are there, they will participate in the budget setting process. That's why it is known as bottom to up approach. So in this, see, there it was from top to bottom, the budget holding staff was at the lowest, but here the budget holding staff itself will prepare the budget and then it will be sent to the senior management for approval. Then if the senior management accepts the budget suggested by the budget holding staff, that is the lower level, then the top level will accept and communicate it. But if it is rejected, then it will be sent back. Now see, circumstances where top down budget is preferable. So we also have to see which approach is required. So where top down, that is senior level. Okay, so let me see where senior level sets the budget for the lower level, that is top down budget, where in what cases it is preferable. So you can remember this by an easy memory trick, that is characteristics, where personality characteristics of the participation may limit the benefits of participation. That is, if suppose there would have been bottom up approach, then the participation of the lower levels may have limited the benefits of participation, that is it would have acted as an adverse. So in this situation we will follow top down budget approach. So the characteristic is the keyword, you can use the memory trick C. Now, where preparation by itself is not adequate in ensuring commitment to standards and managers can influence the result. So I, influence is the keyword. Then here the keyword is highly programmable, the process is highly programmable. So P. Then where a firm has high large number of homogeneous units. So H is the keyword. What is the keyword? H. So what is the memory trick for this? Chip, that is CHIP, chip. So where top down budget setting is preferable, let us revise. The memory trick is chip, that is from C characteristics, from H homogeneous units, from I influence the results, and from P process is highly programmable. Yeah, so see 14 pages have already been covered. Now if we go to the next topic, also if you're liking this video, please do not forget to subscribe the channel so that I can bring more videos for you. You can also comment if you need any other chapter video. Okay, so the next topic is use of accounting information in performance evaluation. So there are three styles: budget constraint style, profit conscious style, and non-accounting style. So in budget constraint style, you have to remember that it is evaluation is based on what? On short term basis. In profit, obviously profit is for long term goals. And non-accounting style, in non-accounting, the name itself says that accounting data is not important. Yeah, so now we'll come to the next topic, that is beyond budgeting. So again we'll see two concepts, that is traditional budgeting. One is the traditional budgets and one is the beyond budget. So as the name also you can see, traditional budget was used earlier. Now beyond means something above and beyond. So after traditional, what has come? Beyond budgeting. So obviously there might be some limitations of traditional budgets which is overcome by the beyond budgeting. That's why beyond budgeting concept has come. So what are the limitations of traditional budget? It was time consuming, costly to put together. Then responsiveness and flexibility make people feel undervalued. So this you can remember with this memory trick: time consuming and costly to put together. Let me change the pen color, you can't see in pink. Time consuming and costly to put together, responsiveness and flexibility, barrier to change, strategically focused. Then it is add little value. Then this is guesswork. Then make people feel undervalued. Then again one point was from you, that is updated too infrequently, that is very few times it is updated, that is change was not there. In traditional, generally what is the problem? That it is time consuming, not very changes are not acceptable. So these were the problems. So you can use the memory trick, that is buffer guru. So from guru you can see here it will be R, responsiveness. So from guru you can see, from G it is guesswork, from U it is undervalued, from R there is responsiveness, again from U it is updated too infrequently. So 4 points are easily covered. From G, if we revise again, from G there is guesswork, from U it is undervalued, from R it is responsiveness, from U it is updated too infrequently. Now if we see buffer, from B there is a barrier to change, from U there is, again U is already covered. Then from double F, there is focused and flexibility. From R there is responsiveness, which is already covered, and time consuming and costly to put together. So overall the points were covered, you understood also, so you can easily recall this. Now this is also important. This concept is why go beyond traditional budgets. That is the question. If traditional budgets was there, then what is the need for beyond budgeting? So this is because beyond budgeting is more adaptive process. See, in traditional budgeting, what we saw, that change was not there, updated too infrequently, that is updates were not given. So instead, budget beyond budgeting, what does it follow? It is a more adaptive process and a decentralized process. What is decentralized? That is delegated to every levels. So these both are the reasons you have to remember. Now there is characteristics of beyond budgeting. So for your reference, I have kept this clip here. This was, we studied it right now. What are the limitations of traditional budgeting? That was the memory trick we followed. Buffer guru. This question was there, limitations of traditional budgeting. Now based on this questions comes beyond budgeting, because what limitations were there will be the characteristics for beyond budgeting, because there it was time consuming, but here it will be more timely allocation of resources. That is what the limitation was, there comes the benefit here. That is, there it was time taking, but here timely allocation is done. That is, time is managed very well. Then again, there it was that change was not acceptable. See, there was too updated too infrequently. But if you can see in this one, here it is encourage a culture of innovation, which means that change is there. Now see, overall KPI point is there, benchmarking is there, then there is focus is shifted to improving future results, then there is operational managers are allowed to react. That is, there was centralized, but here it is decentralized, then change is there, and time is managed. So overall you can easily remember this. KPI, benchmarking, focus is shifted to improving future results, managers are allowed to react, and then change and time is managed. Now suitability of beyond budgeting. This is again asking where, in what cases beyond budgeting is suitable. Like see, industries, they are given 3 cases, and of those 3 cases, 3 problems, the 3 solutions are given. This is the problems and this is the solution. Industries where there is rapid change. So for the first case is for rapid change. So in case of change, how you have to be, you don't have to be rigid, but you have to be flexible. So flexible targets will be responsive to change. So if the targets are flexible, seeing the changes, we can adjust the targets. Now the industry is using methods such as TQM. If TQM, what does TQM suggest? Continuous improvement. So the answer will be continuous improvement. Now if the industry is going radical change, that is BPR, business process re-engineering. So in this case, obviously the budgets may be hard to achieve. That's why beyond budgeting has to be followed. Now in beyond budgeting, there are 12 foundational principles. So of 12, bifurcation is made. 6 is leadership, and 6 principles are based on management process. So if we see the leadership processes, this can easily be learned using the memory trick. See, there is P for purpose, V for values, T for transparencies, O for organization, A for autonomy, C for customers. So it is VP quote. So how you can remember this memory trick for this question? Because VP, what is VP? Vice President. So Vice President can be related to a leader, because this is a post, this is your designation. So the leader will wear a coat. So you can learn V, values. So from V, if we revise, there is values. From P, there is purpose. From C, there is customers. From O, there is organization. From A, it is autonomy. And from T, it is transparency. Now if we come to the management processes. So in management processes, there is rhythm, targets. R stands for rhythm, T stands for targets, P stands for plans, resource allocation A, evaluation E, and again rewards R. So what is the memory trick here? RTP, AIR. So you can remember this with RTP in CA final, and in CA final you bring AIR. So here it is AER. If we revise again, from R you can remember rhythm, from T you can remember targets, from P you can remember plans, from A you can remember allocation, from E you can remember evaluation, and from R rewards. Rhythm, targets, plans, and allocation, evaluation, and rewards. So I know in one time only you can't learn this memory trick. So what you can do is you can pause this video and again revise it and then replay the video from here itself. Also, if you need any other chapter, you can write it down in the comment section. Now the next topic is benefits of beyond budgeting model. So beyond budgeting, what it does, it helps the managers to work in coordination. It eliminates behavioral issues. So these are just self-explanatory points. You can go through this. For implementing beyond budgeting, so from implementing you can remember one more thing. We studied implementation of something else also. Just try to recall. When I'm scrolling up, you can recall we studied implementation of what? See, implementation of feed forward control. This way you can try to recall using the points. If we come back to the point we were studying, it is implementation of beyond budgeting. So we will write down also here. Above we studied implementing feed forward control. So this is just these points you have to memorize. Just read these ones and it is easy to learn. Just memorize it. Ratification. Then there is the last topic, that is finally conclusion on budgeting. That is what we conclude from all the concepts, that budget is evolving rather than obsolete. That is, we studied in beyond budgeting that it should be changed and updated. Innovations. So obsolete means old. So it should not be old, it should be evolving, that is updated. Now from top down approach, what we should shift to? We should shift to bottom up approach, so that lower levels are also participated. So 2 points are covered. It should be evolving and not old. So the evolving point is done, the top down point is done. The third point is that level of improvement is to be there, and that can be achieved with simple modifications. Again, it is talking about the changes. Then it is that incremental improvements will be there, and forecasting in fact is more important. This we studied in feed forward control. That is reaction before action. That is, it took place before action. So we have to do estimate, and what is estimates of future is known as forecasting. So all the three concepts are covered in this conclusion. This one is talking about, first point is talking about beyond budgeting, second point is talking about the approach, that is top down or bottom up, and the last point is talking about feed forward control. So I hope you all like this video. So do not forget to subscribe my channel, and if you want to download this PDF, you can download from the link, telegram link that I have given in the description section. Thank you.